Have you ever noticed how some people do not just sit by the window? They escape into it. They choose that seat before anyone else can take it. In a car, on a bus, on a train, on a plane, their body is inside the vehicle, but their mind is already somewhere far away. They stare outside like the moving world is telling them something nobody else can hear. And the strange part is, they may not even know why they do it. They may say, "I just like the view." But psychology rarely stops at simple answers. Sometimes the window seat is not about scenery. It is about distance. It is about control. It is about needing a quiet place to disappear without actually leaving. Because for some people, the window is not just glass. It is a boundary between what they feel and what they show. There is something deeply revealing about where a person chooses to sit. Most people think a seat is just a seat, a random choice, a matter of comfort, but small choices often expose hidden emotional patterns. The way someone sits near the door, the way someone avoids the center of a room, the way someone chooses the corner table in a restaurant. These little preferences are not always meaningless. They can show how a person relates to the world, how safe they feel, how much control they need, how much closeness they can handle. And the window seat is one of the most interesting choices of all, because it gives you two things at the same time. You are present, but not fully trapped. You are with people, but not fully available. You are inside the journey, but your attention has somewhere else to go. That is why the window seat attracts a certain kind of mind. Not always. Of course, sometimes people simply enjoy light, space, or the view. But for many, there is something emotional underneath, something quiet, something they may not explain easily. Think about the person who enters a bus and immediately moves toward the window. They do not want the aisle. They do not want the middle. They want the edge. They want the side where nobody can sit beyond them. The world is on one side. People are on the other. And for a while, they can control the direction of their attention. A young man once said that the window seat was the only place where he felt allowed to think. He was not dramatic. He was not antisocial. He had friends. He worked. He smiled when people spoke to him. But every time he traveled, he needed the window. When someone asked him why, he said, "Because I don't have to look at anyone." That sentence sounds simple, but it carries a lot. Sometimes the window seat is chosen by people who are emotionally tired, not necessarily depressed, not necessarily broken, just tired of performing, tired of being watched, tired of responding, tired of making facial expressions that match the moment. The window gives them permission to stop acting for a while. They can stare outside and nobody asks, "What are you thinking?" Nobody expects eye contact. Nobody demands emotional energy. This is why some quiet people love long drives, not because the destination matters, but because movement makes stillness feel acceptable. If you sit alone in your room staring at a wall, people may worry. But if you stare out of a moving window, it looks normal. It looks peaceful. It looks aesthetic. But inside, the mind may be doing something much deeper. The window becomes a silent therapist. It lets thoughts come and go without interruption. It turns pain into scenery. It makes memories feel less heavy, because everything outside is moving too. There is a hidden comfort in watching the world pass by. Trees, roads, lights, strangers, buildings, fields, people walking somewhere you will never know. It reminds the mind that nothing stays fixed forever. Even if your life feels stuck, the outside world keeps moving. And for people carrying silent emotional weight, that movement can feel strangely healing. But there is another layer. People who love the window seat often have a strong inner world. They are not just looking outside. They are projecting themselves onto what they see. A rainy street becomes a memory. A lonely person walking by becomes a story. A sunset becomes a feeling they cannot name. Their mind does not just observe the world, it translates it into emotion. This is common in people who are reflective, imaginative, or emotionally sensitive. They notice things others ignore. A flickering streetlight, a child looking out from another car, an old house with one window open. These small details become meaningful, not because they are actually important, but because the mind is searching for symbols. Some people do not process life directly. They process it through images. The window gives them images. It gives their feelings somewhere to land. A woman once shared that whenever she felt overwhelmed, she would take a bus without caring where it went. She would sit by the window and just watch the city. She said the passing streets made her feel like her problems were not the entire universe. For that 1 hour, she was not a daughter, not an employee, not someone expected to fix everything. She was just a person behind glass, watching life happen. That is the hidden power of the window seat. It creates emotional distance without complete isolation. You are still around people. You are still part of the world. But the glass gives you a private inner room. For some, this is soothing. For others, it is survival. Because not everyone who likes the window seat is simply dreamy. Some are guarded. Some have learned that too much closeness can be dangerous. They may have grown up in homes where privacy was rare, where emotions were questioned, where every move was watched, where silence was misunderstood. So later in life, they develop tiny ways of protecting themselves. The window seat becomes one of those ways. It gives them one protected side. Nobody can approach from the window. Nobody can surprise them from that direction. Their body feels less exposed. This may sound small, but the nervous system pays attention to space. People who feel easily overstimulated or emotionally unsafe often prefer positions where they can see what is happening around them. They choose corners, walls, back seats, edges, exits, windows, not because they are paranoid, but because their body feels calmer when one side is protected. The window seat says, at least nothing can come from this side. And sometimes that is enough. There is also a deeper connection between window seats and control. Travel is one of those situations where you surrender control. You are not driving. You are not deciding every turn. You are not fully in charge of speed, direction, stops, delays, or strangers around you. For people who already feel life is unpredictable, that loss of control can feel uncomfortable. The window gives back a small piece of control. You choose what to look at. You choose when to disconnect. You choose whether to engage or retreat. The aisle seat exposes you to movement. People brushing past, someone standing too close, a bag hitting your shoulder, a stranger asking you to move. But the window seat gives a feeling of containment. It is a small corner of certainty inside an uncertain journey. That is why some people become irritated when they cannot get it. It is not only about missing the view. It is about losing their emotional anchor. But the window seat is not always about protection. Sometimes it is about longing. Some people choose it because they are always mentally elsewhere. They are in the car but thinking about a future life. They are on the bus but imagining a version of themselves who finally feels free. They are on a plane looking at clouds, wondering what their life would look like if they had made different choices. The window seat attracts people who live between reality and possibility. They are physically here, but psychologically, they are always reaching for somewhere else. This is why the window feels romantic to the mind. It represents escape, not necessarily running away in a dramatic sense, but escaping the emotional weight of being constantly defined by your current life. For a moment, the window reminds you that the world is bigger than your problems, your job, your house, your past, your routine, your mistakes. It whispers, there is more. That is why people look out of windows during difficult conversations. That is why lonely characters in films are often shown near windows. That is why someone heartbroken sits by the window at night. Not because the street has answers, but because looking outward feels easier than looking inward. The window becomes the place where unspoken feelings gather. And maybe this is why the window seat feels so personal. It gives people a way to feel without explaining themselves. There is a type of person who struggles to say, I am sad, but they can sit by the window and become quiet. There is a type of person who cannot admit, I feel trapped, but they can watch roads disappear behind them. There is a type of person who does not know how to say, I need space, but they can press their shoulder against the glass and turn their face away. The window seat allows emotional honesty without confession. And for many people, that is exactly what they need. But there is also an uncomfortable truth here. Sometimes people choose the window seat because they want connection, but only from a distance. They want to witness life without being pulled too deeply into it. They want to observe people, but not be observed too much. They want closeness, but with an exit. They want presence, but with protection. This can happen in people who have been hurt by intimacy. They may enjoy being around others, but too much direct interaction drains them. They may care deeply, but they need space to regulate themselves. They may crave love, but fear the demands that come with it. So they become watchers. They sit at the edge. They notice everything. They say little. And because they are quiet, people assume they are detached. But often, they are feeling more than everyone else in the room. They just do not know where to put all that feeling. The window helps contain it. There is a strange sadness in that. Because the window seat can be peaceful, but it can also reveal a person who has learned to live behind glass emotionally. They watch life. They understand people. They notice beauty. They sense moods. But part of them stays separated, not fully touched, not fully reached. They have become good at being near life without fully entering it. And sometimes that is the hidden psychology behind the window seat. Not preference, protection, not comfort to distant, not just enjoying the view, avoiding the pressure of being seen. But we should be careful not to make this too dark, because choosing the window seat can also be a sign of depth, curiosity, and emotional intelligence. Many creative people love windows because windows feed imagination. Writers, artists, thinkers, introverts, dreamers, they often need visual space to let the mind breathe. A window gives the brain a moving canvas. It creates the perfect balance between stimulation and silence. The outside keeps changing, but nobody demands a reaction. For a creative mind, this is powerful. Ideas appear when the eyes are relaxed. Memories surface when the body is still. Deep thoughts often arrive during in-between moments, not when we are trying hard to think. That is why some of your most emotional thoughts come during a drive, a flight, a train ride, or a late-night bus journey. You are not doing anything, so your mind finally starts telling the truth. This is why window seats can feel almost spiritual. They place you between worlds. You are not where you started. You're not where you are going. You are suspended in transition, and transition opens the mind. It makes you reflect on who you were, who you are, and who you are becoming. A person looking out of a window during a journey is often not looking at the road. They are looking at their own life from a distance. and distance can reveal what closeness hides. When you are inside your daily routine, everything feels urgent. Messages, work, family, responsibilities, expectations. But from a window, life becomes softer, smaller, more symbolic. You see houses and wonder how many people are hiding pain behind normal walls. You see strangers and realize everyone is carrying a story you will never hear. You see the sky and remember that your life is not as fixed as it feels. That is why some people feel emotional when they look out of windows, especially at night, especially in rain, especially when music is playing. The mind combines motion, memory, and mood. Suddenly, something inside opens. You remember someone. You miss a version of yourself. You feel the ache of time passing. You wonder how quickly life is moving while you are still trying to understand it. This is not weakness. This is awareness. The window seat often belongs to people who feel the hidden weight of ordinary moments. They know life is not just what happens. It is what passes, what fades, what could have been, what might still be. And maybe that is why the window seat feels so powerful. It reminds us that we are always traveling, even when we think we are standing still. Childhood moves away. People change. Friendships become memories. Cities become old versions of themselves. Even the person you were yesterday is already disappearing behind you. The window makes that visible. Every passing scene becomes a metaphor. You cannot hold the road. You cannot stop the sky from changing. You cannot freeze the faces you pass. You can only watch, feel, and continue, and this is where the psychology becomes philosophical. Because the person who chooses the window seat may be doing something all humans secretly do. They are trying to understand their place in a moving world. They are trying to make peace with the fact that life does not pause long enough for us to fully process it. The window seat gives them a small ritual, a quiet way to grieve, a quiet way to dream, a quiet way to breathe, a quiet way to exist without being interrupted. So the next time you see someone choosing the window seat, do not assume they just like the view. Maybe they are tired. Maybe they are imaginative. Maybe they are guarding themselves. Maybe they are trying to feel free. Maybe they are remembering someone they never talk about. Maybe they are watching the world because it is easier than explaining what is happening inside them. And if you are that person, maybe this is why the window has always called to you. Maybe you choose it because part of you needs space. Maybe because your mind is too loud and the moving world gives it rhythm. Maybe because you have always felt things deeply, but quietly. Maybe because somewhere inside, you are still looking for a place where you can be close to life without being swallowed by it. In the end, the window seat is not really about the window. It is about the human need to be both here and elsewhere, to belong but not be trapped, to observe but not be exposed, to move forward while still trying to understand everything that has passed behind us. And maybe the people who always choose the window seat are not running away from life. Maybe they are the ones paying the closest attention to how quickly it is passing. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more. Until next time.